How are you?
Good. How are you?
So, how would you like to begin today? What brings you in?
I guess I wanted to talk about an experience I had with the boss. This past year, I was a preschool teacher for a private academy in Albany, Georgia, and my boss was terrible. And I guess she never really did anything to me, but it was just the way she handled stuff. I felt was very unprofessional, and it reflected, like, we would have to lie for her to the parents and stuff like that. So
I guess that can make you very uncomfortable.
It was.
Do that for a boss.
It was. She was never there really, and when she was, it was usually to take money out of the drawer or something like that, or to yell at people, you know. She didn't have, she had good workers for the most part, but she had her key ones, and I was one, where she didn't want to lose me and a few others. And so she was really nice to me, but it was just a really shady situation between her and the other administrative staff and stuff.
You say shady, like what exactly do you mean?
Like, you would go in her office and talk to her about an issue, and 20 minutes later everybody on the hall would know, because her secretary would tell everybody, who happened to be her sister.
Oh, okay, so it's they kind of were in cahoots together, and
They were.
weren't very professional as far as other people's issues.
No, and I never told her anything. I tried to really handle everything I could and only get her involved when an issue might come about with a parent or something. So, but other people would go in there and tell her their whole life story, and she would run her mouth about it. So,
Seems like you kind of observed that and learned, not to do it yourself.
I did. So, but I just felt like I'm very passionate towards, what I do, and, I love working with kids. I absolutely loved my job. I have my 4-year degree, and she was paying me 75 cents over minimum wage. So, which is nothing compared to, one of my students. I had a room full of 15 kids, and they were each paying $700 a month to go there. So we were very underpaid, and I worked from 7:30 to 5:30, no lunch break.
Wow.
So it was a long day, and I don't know, I guess I don't feel like she handles stuff well. She gets very overwhelmed, and she's like, I don't want to talk about it, and shuts her door. And so, but back to the shady part, I guess something that really unnerved me that she did, when you're at work, you're professional. You don't gossip. You don't, and I guess working with, there was like 50 women, there's going to be
Maybe some
gossip.
talking.
Yes, but like one time, she called me in her office to talk about something, and she and her secretary had been drinking.
Oh.
Like, beer bottles all over her office. Not like, I had a glass of wine at work, which is extremely inappropriate, but like, beer bottles everywhere.
I'm getting hammered.
And so I was like, if I was a parent and called, and my child's director of preschool, who handles my kid from 6 o'clock to 5:30 in the afternoon, if they were trashed, I have a problem with that. And it just really, I don't know. I guess I felt like I could do so much better of a job than she was doing.
Yeah, it seems like you're really passionate about you said it was a preschool.
It was.
For working there, and it seems like you have a lot of professionalism, and you just take your job really seriously. So I can see how seeing someone being unprofessional would bother you.
It did, and on my last week, I was supposed to be there another half a year, and then I just said I'm going to grad school, because I was going to put off grad school for another semester, because she really needed a preschool teacher, and they couldn't find anybody. And then finally I was like, no. But my last week, it was kind of the end of summer, beginning of school year, so all the other kids were in their classes. Well, I had the extra kids that like went to public school during the day or were going to different preschools and stuff. And I was like in a room the size of this room with, at one point, 18 kids.
Wow.
With 3 with special needs, severe special needs. And I was really overwhelmed, and it takes a lot for me to be like, oh my gosh, I'm about to quit. Like, I've never been that way.
But that's a tough situation. It's a
It was.
small room, a lot of kids, and some with special needs. I mean, anyone would be overwhelmed by a situation like that.
It was. And, you know, and she came in, and she would never, and I have a big issue, you know, she's the owner. She should know how every inch of that school is ran.
Right.
And she just didn't. She, like, if we were understaffed, it was, oh, well, you need to stay late and cover somebody else. And, you know, when she's sitting up in her office drinking.
So she had a lack of care.
It was lazy. But she peeked her head in, and it's like Tuesday, and my last day is a Friday. And she peeks her head in, and she goes, how's it going? And give me 2 thumbs up. And I said, well, another girl had just quit that day. And her name was Sakina. And I said, if you don't get me help, I'm about to pull a Sakina and I'm quitting today. Like, and I don't speak to people that way. I mean, whatever. But
You're at your wit's end.
I was. And she went up there and told the secretary, her sister, that if I quit any time earlier than Friday, she was giving me a bad reference. And so I ended up, that actually happened on a Monday. I ended up, they didn't need me on Thursday, Friday, and I worked it out to where they really wouldn't need me. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I said, would you have a problem? And she was like, no. You know, Wednesday can be your last day. Just work all day Wednesday. And, you know, you've already got it worked out to Thursday. It's going to save me money because everything was saving her money. Mm-hmm. So I knew if I wanted off, I could come up with a way and then be like, it'll save you money. So saving her money, and so she was like, that's fine. Well, her secretary went and told one of the girls that I'm really close with, and I know everything that goes on with this girl, and she knows with me, and we don't run our mouths about it. But the secretary told her, yeah, since Trina's quitting 2 days early, we're going to make sure to give her a bad reference. Wow. And I just worked here a year and a half, worked 50 hours a week, did not get paid for overtime, and have had to lie to numerous parents, have had to cover for her, have stayed late and beyond. And
that's upsetting.
I was beyond livid.
So how did that make you feel? I mean, of course you were livid, but I mean, dealing with someone who is so unprofessional, doesn't really care much about her job, and she's threatening to mess with your career. So, you know, you actually care about what you do. I mean, how did you handle that?
Which I had talked to my boss and everything. I didn't say specifically I knew. I just said, I want to make sure this is okay. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah. And I did some chores for her before, like I had to go take the van because I was one of the only ones that could drive it and get it serviced and all that. And when I came back that afternoon, I was like, you know, I want to make sure this is okay, that I'm not going to be in any, you know, that it's not upsetting to y'all. And I made sure the secretary was in there. I said, it's not upsetting to y'all that I'm leaving. You know, I worked this out. Please let me know. And I will come in on Thursday and Friday. I have no problem. And she was like, no, we've got it. And then, you know, she's given me good references since. But, you know, and I guess when the girl first told me that she said that, I sat back and, of course, you know, I'm 23. I'm still, you know, I can be a high schooler sometimes. And I was like, all right, she wants to play that. I can contact the parents that I've lied for and said, you know, I've seen this teacher hit your child, you know, and Randy is my boss, and Randy cover it up. And I've seen this go on, and she drinks in her office, and she does this.
So you kind of like wanted that revenge.
I wanted it, and I don't know. I mean, if she gave me a bad reference, we would definitely have problems.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could ever. I mean, that's bad on my part. But it definitely sparked in my head, and I was like, yeah, I did that. Mess with me, and I'll screw you up. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
having those feelings of revenge, did you feel kind of guilty about that?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. I mean, she put every one of us through hell and back.
So she kind of pushed you to it a little
Yeah,
bit.
and I mean, yeah, and I guess my dad was really big on, like, I lived with a girl, you know, this is off subject, I lived with a girl who just, everything had to be her way, and her parents babied her so much. Like, we moved into our apartment and it was dirty, but we were getting it across from the college she was attending for $167, all together, bills and all, like, internet, cable, security, everything.
Good price.
And it was a really,
I think that's good.
yeah.
Is that it?
Leno, good job.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you. Y'all can get out of this hot in here.
But that one